Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Full Open featuring Kurumx. For those of you guys who don't know about Kurum, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Alex. I go by Kurumx online. I started playing TFT like literally like back when it was on PB and Set 1, and I really like just fell in love with the game. And I started streaming like I think like a couple few months into Set 1, and I popped off really hard, got signed by Liquid in like what was it, like Set 2 or Set 3, and I just been playing the game ever since then, honestly. Like TFT's been pretty much the majority of my life for the last 3 years, so.
Okay, so you started streaming about 3 years ago. Is streaming full time on Twitch something that you've always wanted to do, or is it more something that just happened?
It's actually not really anything I had planned to do. I never like I'm pretty introverted in real life, so it wasn't really like a plan for me to be like a public figure and like turn it into like a job as like an entertainer. It's just kind of something that happened when I started streaming. I was like pushing rank 1, and I was just like it'd be cool if like maybe a couple hundred people wanted to watch me, have like a really small community, and then like all I got hosted by Skara, and from there, a lot more people than I ever anticipated started watching. So,
Yeah, that's really awesome. So do you have like a moment you remember when you just kind of decided it's like, hey, this is something I can really do?
yeah, I mean, when I first started streaming for the first like I want to say like 3 or 4 months, like I was still going to school full time, and it was really rough trying to balance like school and streaming at the same time, and I kind of had just like had to make a decision. And I decided, like this is something that I'm just gonna go for. Like this is something that I'm really gonna just like dedicate all my free time to, and just I'm just gonna go for it. So that's what I did. So it was like it was like near the middle, near the end of set 1, I would say, is when I took the plunge.
Damn, that's really awesome, man. Well, me and a lot of your other fans are definitely glad you did.
Thanks.
So
Thanks.
what year were you in school when you quit to pursue
I
streaming?
was I was in my 5th year. I was doing my master's at UCF.
Oh, holy
I
shit!
Yep. Yep. So I took a leave of absence from a master's program to pursue full-time streaming. And that's around the time where I got signed by Liquid. So
Damn, that's a big sacrifice. If you were to like do it all over again, would you still choose to go down this path? And I guess, even if you do choose to go down streaming, what were some things like you might have wished you'd done differently?
if I could do it all over again, yeah, I would. I would still go for the streaming path. Like engineering is a stable lifestyle, but it's not something that like I was super, interested in doing. But I have Asian parents, and they really wanted me to make sure I got like stable jobs. So that's kind of, and I was really into like computers, and that, like back in high school, like my friends would go out and they would ask me to go out, but I was just staying playing World of Warcraft. So I wanted to do something like, on the computer instead. So I don't know. I had like a decent background for it, but it's not something I really wanted to do with my time. But things I would do differently were just, I guess, like not putting so much pressure on myself to always be at my best and like be the best, and just like insane, like be like really good while like having like really good like chat interaction at the same time. And I don't know, I guess I would like put less pressure on myself, take more days off instead of just like burning out really hard, and just getting like really stressed out all the time, and things like that. So
Yeah, I think that's a super good reminder to everyone. It's like, don't be too hard on yourself. I think that's something that I can relate a lot with for sure.
yeah.
One thing you mentioned is like being like great like chat interaction and also being great at TFT. So how do you balance? Because like you're a competitive TFT player. Like how do you balance that with also being like entertaining to your chat on Twitch?
Yeah, I think that's probably like the hardest part when it comes to streaming, because in TFT, like in the esports space, it doesn't really get much support, so you can't really like make a living out of just being a good player, you kind of have to be like an entertainer at the same time, I guess. And TFT is something that really like demands, like at the highest level, TFT really does demand like all your brain power, like all your knowledge, all your like all like the skills that you can like put into it, like you can use it. Um, so I would say finding that balance can be really hard, especially when you're trying to grow. Because the best way to grow on Twitch for TFT is probably just to get rank one and hold rank one for a very extended amount of time. So it can be really hard. It's something that I've struggled with a lot, and it's something that I still struggle with to this day, is balancing those two things. But I think what helps a lot, just basically turning off the filter and just whatever pops into your head, you just say it out loud. And it shouldn't interfere like too much with your play. A lot of the time, right? Like when I first started playing TFT, it was basically just like I'm just gonna go live and whatever comes into my head, I'm just gonna say it. Whatever thought process I'm thinking, I'm just gonna say it. And honestly, my channel started off like very TFT oriented, but then as people started to realize that I would basically just read like any question in the chat and then, you know, say like my honest answer to it, whether it has to do with TFT or not, because that's just like the way that I stream, right? Just no filter, just anything I see, anything I do, I just say it out loud. I just read it out loud, and then people started to abuse that, and then yeah, yeah, I kind of just turned from like only TFT focus to like kind of just all over the place, like whatever focus. So
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, you definitely have like a very notorious chat and in the TFT
mm,
space. I guess it's really what you said about streaming with no filter. That's such a I think that's such a good recommendation. I find that like sometimes like whenever I'm in that mood, I find like people really like that. So I think that's a really good call out. I
yeah,
love that.
mm,
One thing you mentioned is like the best way to grow as like a TFT streamer is just like get rank one. And I mean we've seen
yeah,
this recently. Actually, like for myself, when I was streaming, I was rank two, and then Setsuko started streaming, who's rank one, and he actually took like a ton of my viewers. Like my viewer count like plummeted after Setsuko started streaming, which is fine. Like I want him; he's a nice guy. I want him to succeed. But
yeah.
what are some other tips you have for like aspiring like full time streamers? Maybe like
I
someone
mean,
who's
the
streaming with
most
like 20 viewers or something like that.
yeah, I mean, back when I was streaming with 20 viewers, I basically did the exact same thing every single night. I streamed 7 days a week, and I streamed from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. every single night. And I mean, it sounds like a lot, but like the thing is, I was so addicted to TFT that I didn't care, right? Like it's hard to maintain like that kind of like schedule, but like the thing that matters the most on Twitch is consistency and it's like streaming every day at the same time, like that matters more than almost anything else if you're trying to grow. So I would say if you're just starting out, you do have to dedicate like almost your entire life to it if you want to have a chance at like going like full time and making it a living for you. So
Yeah, I think that consistency is a really good tip too. I mean, streaming is obviously super competitive. A lot of people are trying to do it.
yeah.
What do you think are like your like personal strengths as a streamer, like compared to your peers? Something that like you do better.
Personal strengths, I would just say I really enjoy streaming. Uh, when I can interact with my chat a lot at the same time as like, being able to focus on the game at the same time and just kind of like going back and forth, right? Like talking about the game and then answering questions in chat, talking about the game and then answering questions in chat. So I think I do a really good job with like chat interaction and as as much as I can compared to other streamers. Uh, but honestly, like something I do poorly, I would say, is like like collabing with other streamers and like, getting in call with other streamers and like and on all that because like the thing is like I don't know, it's just not really like how I like enjoy streaming, I guess. Like I kind of like doing it by myself a lot of the time and one of the best ways to like get exposure and grow is to like, collab with other streamers. So that's something that I would probably say is like not so good, that I do not so good.
Interesting. I'm curious about when for exposure. What about like at your level right now? From my
Hmm?
perspective, and I could be wrong about this, I feel like kind of everyone in the TFT community kind of already knows who you are. Do you still like at your current level, you still need more exposure?
I think
I mean, it's never
uh
hurts.
I think yeah, I mean it definitely never hurts and the thing is like TFT streaming community is kind of weird, right? Like there's it's basically a bubble where like people that watch and play TFT know everyone in TFT and everyone knows like the emote culture and stuff like but people that are outside of TFT don't know anything really about TFT at all and don't know like what they would see wankage and they would say what the fuck is wankage, right? So but like everyone in TFT is not gonna know what wankage is. So I think like when it comes to that, like Soju is like by far the number one TFT streamer, right? And like probably the best thing you can do to grow in the TFT space is to just chill with Soju on call a lot and just give like a good impression. And I mean, a lot of streamers have like, they've gotten really popular off that and that's because like they're funny and that's like so I think like in that sense like it does like hurt me, I guess, and or like by not like collabing with other streamers and stuff like that, and like really like putting myself out there more instead of just like chilling with my chat and my community. But to be honest, like that's just how I enjoy streaming, and that's just like how that's like kind of like what I want is to just chill with my community that they really want to just watch me and they're there for me and I can just play some good TFT and do the best that I can and just interact with my chat. That's just how I enjoy streaming. So,
Yeah, that's really awesome.
yeah.
So when you're streaming to your chat, it's like your community.
Mhm.
Do you think like how much of you is it like you just being yourself? Like how
Mhm.
different is like Kurumx streaming to like a couple thousand viewers to compare if you're sharing screen to like one friend on Discord?
Um, okay, well, I can definitely tell you like there's not a single person in this world that is like narrating what they're doing, talking to themselves in their room by themselves off stream, right? So I'm definitely not like talking out loud when I play games
Oh
if
yeah,
I'm
yeah. I
not
mean like
streaming.
if you're sharing screen to like one friend and just, like if you're talking to like one person compared to like
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
couple
I know what
thousand.
you mean. I would say it kind of just goes back to like the no filter thing. Like when you're just chilling with your friend, like a lot of stuff that like pops in your head and you're like a lot of stuff that goes in your head when like say like you barely lose a fight and you're just like in your head is saying like, "Oh fuck, I can't believe I fucking lost that." But then like you're not like saying that usually if you're just chilling by yourself in your room, right? Like with one friend. But like on stream like those thoughts in your head, like it's better to say it out loud and just like completely just like let it go. And I guess that would be like the main difference. Like it's still me. It's just like me turned up to like fucking 10, instead of like me turned down to like a 2.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
I'm chilling in Discord, I'm like chilling at a 2, But it's still me. It's the same person, right? But it's still my thoughts. It's just, you're really just like letting every filter go, I guess.
For sure. I think that's, I mean, even the way you answer that question, like, I feel like the way even you answered it was like so, you're just like so authentic. Cause,
Oh,
I mean,
thanks.
I
I mean,
definitely, no, I definitely feel like, cause like, some other streamers might view it as like, oh, I'm putting on like an entertainer, like a
well, a lot
different
of
like
people do have
personality.
like a streaming persona, right?
Yeah.
And I think like that is like a way that you can stream is, just taking on like a different persona than like who you actually are in real life. But for me, it's just not how I prefer to stream. It's just not something I've ever really been interested in. So I just do it like this.
That's awesome. I will actually say like that's very inspiring for myself because I've been kind of
Hmm.
like experimenting with different things. I'm just getting started.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's really inspiring. That's
Yeah, it
really
can
awesome.
work for sure. Like just just being yourself and just turning off all the filters, just turning yourself up to 11, like it can definitely work, I think.
That's awesome. So you said like when you're turning yourself up, um,
Hmm.
I'm sure like you go through extended periods of time where like you kind of don't feel that energy. How do you deal with
Yeah.
that?
Oh, I mean, it can be really hard. Some days are a lot harder than others, right? Um, I guess like the way that I deal with it is kind of just being honest with my chat and just telling them like yeah, I'm really not like, feeling super hot today. I'm not feeling like super up to it, and a lot of times they just understand. I think as a newer streamer, it can be, if you don't have like you're still trying to grow your community, you want to always put your best self out there. And honestly, even in my position, I think like the best thing I can do is just always like try to put my best self out there instead of like, being so honest. Um, I think streaming, like if you press the go live button, I think you need to be, you really need to be mentally prepared to really like, like really just show up. Really just show up like as an entertainer, as a good player, like as a streamer, I guess. And if you aren't feeling like you can do that tonight, if you aren't feeling like it's gonna work, then I think it's better to just not stream at all, honestly.
Okay, I'm actually kind of surprised to hear that. So you
Yeah.
think those days when you're streaming, you're not feeling up to it.
Mhm.
I think for me, like I've watched your stream a lot. I like one thing I really appreciate is like when you are like honest with your feelings with your chat. But you think it's better. You think it's better to just not do that at all if you're not feeling up to it. Just not stream at all.
I think
Like it
like
harms.
me personally, like I do that sometimes. Like I'm honest with my chat. I'm like, yeah, I'm really not feeling up to it. I think some people can appreciate like I guess like the genuineness of it. Like they wanna, they don't think you're a robot. They think you're a human being. Like of course, sometimes you feel great. Sometimes you don't feel so great. Some people will appreciate that, but I think like in terms of growth, it's not a good thing to do.
Okay.
I think in terms of pure growth, in terms of just like pure just getting bigger on Twitch, it's not a good thing to do, no.
Okay. All right. That's good here. Do you have any like favorite like a favorite memorable moment from your Twitch career?
Uh I mean the most memorable moment would definitely be when I won Set 4 Worlds, or sorry, Set 4 Regionals. I mean, that's pretty much like always gonna be my most memorable moment. I've had a lot of memorable moments like over the years, but that one is always gonna stand out the most to me. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the best feeling I ever felt in, my entire like 29 years of being alive. So,
Holy shit! All right.
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean
I've
that's
never
gonna be
won.
hard to top.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to top that. Yeah, I've never won anything that big before. I've never felt that like I don't know, I've never felt that validated before in my life.
Yeah.
I kind of, I'm kind of still just like chasing that feeling to get it back and to win again. So,
Yeah. How much of that would you say was from like the TFT competitiveness compared to like the response from like your community and stuff like that?
um, honestly, I would say like it was mainly all competitive at that point. It was just like the feeling of like just being like competitively validated and just like knowing that like my hard work like paid off.
Yeah.
Uh, I think like part of the reason that I don't think that like I'm like what's this? Like I think I'm a good streamer, but I don't think that I'm like that I have like the greatest personality for streaming. And I think like a big part of that reason is because I'm such a competitive person and I can't stand losing and I can't stand like stream like I would never stream a game that I'm bad at. And the thing is like when I go live and I just go like 8 and I just have no idea what I'm doing, like those really are like the worst days for me. And like I think like if you're someone that can just like not give a fuck, that's actually just better for streaming in like every way. But I'm just like an insanely competitive person, and I care a lot about winning, and I always have, and it doesn't go super well with streaming, but I try to make it work as best as I can. So,
Okay, that's actually interesting because it actually reminds me. So,
mm.
short a side story. I had a ton of channel points, and
hmm
then I lost them all in Lost Ark. You're like, for sure, I'm gonna beat this boss first try. Bet
Oh
on me.
yeah,
No,
I
but
remember
okay.
that.
Anyway, where I'm going with this is, I was always
hmm
kind of curious. So, like, is the reason you don't want? That's the reason you don't want to stream like other games. Like, I mean, obviously you're not bad at Lost Ark or anything, but it's like,
Right.
is that why you don't want to stream it?
Yeah, it's just because I know there's like no crossover between like people that play TFT and people that play Lost Ark. You know, it's probably like anywhere from like 5 to 10% maybe, right? And I, at the end of the day, streaming is still a job, right? Like it's still like if you're taking the plunge to be a full-time streamer and it's your main source of income, then you have to do what's best for your job. So. I mean, that honestly just comes down to like I would love to say that like, you know, I'm financially stable enough to not give a fuck and, you know, I can just do whatever I want and act however I want. You know, someone like, you know, I guess like the person that comes to mind the most when I say something like that is Cutie Pie, right? He doesn't give a fuck. He just does whatever he wants. Like used to watch Cutie
Yeah,
play League all the time with 20,000 viewers, you know? Now he just doesn't give a fuck and just streams whatever the fuck he wants.
yeah,
I would love to, you know, do that someday, but for now, it's honestly just better to focus on like, of course, like enjoying yourself and having fun, but also just remembering that at the end of the day, streaming is my main source, like my main and only source of income, and trying to do what's best for that is it's still important. You know, at the same time as you want to stay genuine, but you also want to stay uh employed and
yeah,
not
for sure.
homeless. So.
Both that being employed and not homeless definitely sounds like two very good
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So,
So,
calling back to something you mentioned earlier is like when you said like you're streaming in a bad mood compared to not streaming at all, it actively
right.
like harms your brand. Do you think like compared to not streaming at all, like playing Lost Ark off stream, do you think like streaming it like actively like harms your streaming brand?
Uh, well, yeah. Honestly, yeah. I mean, that's just kind of how it is on Twitch. It's actually better to just like I'll say like I have to submit my stats to Liquid like every single month, right, to get
Hmm.
paid. And it was the first time after I streamed Lost Ark, it was the first time that I noticed that over the course of a month, I had actually lost followers instead of gained followers. And I had never seen that before in my entire like 3 years of streaming. So that kind of made me realize like, yeah, I mean, if you aren't here to like stream, like at the very least you need to if you do want to do variety. Scarl once told me like the best way to transition to variety is to stream like, you know, 5 or 6 hours of your main game and then do like an hour of like a different game at the end of your stream. So if you and he said to do that for about a year, for at least a year, he said. And that's kind of always stuck with me. And uh when I did stream Lost Ark, I kind of realized like, you know, it's kind of better to just try to keep streaming just more about TFT, and I can just enjoy my time off stream doing like whatever I want, you know, whether it's Lost Ark, whether it's playing a different game, whether it's you know, just chilling by myself doing nothing. So,
Yeah, I mean it's also yeah less mentally draining for you, and then you can stream TFT later with more energy. One thing I am interested in specifically, I noticed
mhm.
when I've been in your chat recently, obviously the active chatters might not be the most representative. A lot of people are saying we're tired of TFT. We want to watch Master Chef. How's that been
Yeah.
going?
Oh, I mean, it's been fun. I think like when it comes to Master Chef compared to like streaming another game, The thing is, like, food and competition is something that everyone on the planet can relate to, right? So it's a lot different. Like, I don't mind doing it as much as like streaming a different game, I guess, because I know that like even though like a lot of people are gonna leave because they're only here to watch you play TFT, um, you can still kind of like relate to your chat and have like meaningful conversations when you're watching something like MasterChef because it's something that everyone in the world can relate to, right? So
Okay,
it,
cool.
it's been really fun.
Yeah, and I think I noticed like what you said about what Scar said. I think you've been doing like TFT and then MasterChef at the end of stream. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Another thing you mentioned is like I'm a cutie pie, just doing like where fuck he wants or whatever. I guess
Mhm.
are there any other like TFT streamers that do like a certain thing that like you really admire that you think is really good?
Um, I really admire Soju because Soju's chat is probably the worst I've ever seen. They flame the shit out of him like 24/7 and like say really dumb shit and he rarely ever gets tilted even with so many people like
Oh
saying like
man, yeah.
really awful stuff to him. So I really admire that aspect of him. Um, I think it's part of the it's one of the main reasons that he's so successful, right? And Soju, like when I say like keeping like a strict schedule and stuff like that, like Soju's like the opposite of that, right? But he makes it work because just of like how good he handles chat and how he's always like upbeat for the most part. Like I would say like 99% of the time, I barely ever see him get tilted. So. I mean, I have seen him get tilted on stream, and that kind of reminds me, like, oh fuck, like he's actually human, like he can actually get tilted by chat. But
Yeah, I think they love it when Soju gets tilted because it's such a rare
yeah,
occasion. Oh man.
yeah. And then another person I admire a lot is Kyun, because Kyun is someone that like I talk to Kyun off stream, and man, it's like two completely different people. When I watch Kyun on stream, he's so ridiculous, he's so silly, he's so over the top, and he can deal with idiots really well, and like it really like reflects in like his growth and like how many people want to watch him because he's just so funny to watch, and it's like a persona, but like you don't care because he's so funny, and it's so funny to watch him, and I really admire someone that can like I guess kind of like do all that while still like performing so well in TFT and being such like a big uh I don't know, being such a big like influencer, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because talking to Kyun on stream and talking to Kyun off stream, it's like two completely different things. Like Kyun's very normal, I would say.
It's
Like
so
off
funny.
stream, he's very chill, very normal. And then you go to a stream, he's just making monkey noises every like 2 seconds. So
I love the monkey noises.
yeah, I love watching Kyun. He's definitely like my favorite streamer.
Wow.
One of my favorites. Like he's my most.
All
If you type
right.
in Twitch in my Google address bar or whatever, like always Keen comes up. So the first option.
Nice, nice.
Mm.
Um, so I know Kiyun took like a short. I don't know how long it's been, but he took like a little break from streaming recently. Um,
Yeah.
what's the longest break that you've ever taken from streaming?
Uh, the last break I took from streaming was probably when Lost Ark came out. Probably like the same as Keen, honestly, around a month. Cause Keen was still streaming a lot, I would say. Not a lot, but like he was still streaming every now and then when Lost Ark came out. But I pretty much just like stopped streaming almost altogether for like 3 to 4 weeks. Ken recently just came back like today I think or like yesterday was it, and he hadn't streamed in like over a month, and that's like the longest break like I've ever seen Keen take. So it was about I would say it's like about the same as Keen, around a month.
Okay. Do you think the break was Do you think it was really good for you, or did it hurt your numbers, or how was it?
I mean, I think when I took a break, I was really lost. I didn't really know like what I wanted to do. If I wanted to, try streaming Lost Ark because I was really enjoying the game. If because it was like a new game, right, at the time. and I didn't know like if it was a good idea. I didn't know if I should go live and do like, you know, a few hours of TFT and then play Lost Ark, or if I just shouldn't go live at all, or if I should just go live with Lost Ark, or should I just go live with only TFT. So it
Yeah.
was like a really weird time for me. Like I had no idea really what I should be doing. Um, I would say I'm a lot more confident now, uh, with what I should be doing, which I think is honestly just like, chilling, keeping Lost Ark as like an off-stream game, and just chilling and playing TFT on stream. So I feel a lot more confident now. I would say it didn't hurt my numbers, but at the end of the day, I think the most important thing to focus on really is just, can you make a living? And do you have like a community that loves you and wants to watch you and every day, and just like try to stay consistent for them, focusing on them, focusing on the good, not focusing so much on the bad, not focusing like beating
Yeah.
yourself up like, oh, like I have, like I don't have enough viewers, like I have less subs than I used to. My numbers are down. Like if you focus so much on that, it's really gonna hurt your mood. And I think mood is like a really important thing when it comes to streaming. So I would say like, it did hurt my numbers, but at the same time, it's okay, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you said like you gain confidence. So I guess like in the future, would you feel in the future like if you were to take a month long break, you feel pretty fine
Yeah,
about it? That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. In the future, I think, yeah, if I wanted to take a break, and I felt like I was like, financially able to, then I wouldn't have any problem doing it.
Well, you mentioned like your community. Do you so I guess like I'm still getting used to this. Do you like
Mhm.
consider like your Twitch chat like your friends or like
I mean,
it's like
they're
what is
not
your
your
relation?
friends,
What is your relation? Yeah.
right? They're not your friends. You don't know them personally. You can't match a face. Um, the thing is, like, what you do match is like the people that are like talking all the time. You see them every day. You know how they talk. You know how they act. You kind of like come to expect, like, you know what to expect from them, right? They become like your regulars, right?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they're not friends, but there's nothing wrong with like, being friendly with them, and like acting like calling them your bro. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think it's what's the parasocial. Like I don't think it's like a parasocial thing to do, and even if it is, like I don't think there's any harm in it at all.
Wait, can you remind
Like,
me what parasocial means real fast?
oh, okay, so a parasocial relationship is when you have like an idea of someone, and like you think like they're like your friend, even though you've never actually met them in real life. Here, let me Google it real quick.
All right.
There's one-sided relationships where one person extends emotional energy, interest, in time, and the other person, party, the persona, is completely unaware of the other's existence.
Okay,
So,
okay. So you're saying
so
you're
it's
aware of their existence,
no. I'm
or
saying
what?
like parasocial is like a thing that like people say like all the time on Twitch, but I'm saying that like it doesn't have to be like that. It's just like, if you notice someone, they're your regular, um, and you see them all the time, and they're always like a positive influence, like in chat, and they aren't harming anyone or like being
Yeah.
toxic or anything like that. Like it's fine to like acknowledge that and be like, hey man, like you seem like a fucking cool guy. Like I appreciate you. You know.
Yeah, like a
Uh,
regular
I,
customer in a restaurant or something like that.
kind of,
Kind of.
yeah, but
Oh,
like they're
okay.
not really your customers. That's the thing. Like,
They
because
kind
they're
of are
still.
though, are they?
Yeah, kind of. Right? Like when it comes to Twitch, like I guess viewers could be seen as customers, right? Because like they're the entire reason that you can even do it, that you can even stream on Twitch and still make a living and still like, you know, continue to like, not like, I guess, like put other stuff on hold, right? Like you don't have to go outside and, try to find like a 9 to 5 or whatever. So I mean, they're customers in that way, but like I guess like I've never really viewed it as like customers. It's
Yeah.
more of like a community vibe, I
Yeah.
guess. And whenever someone like gives subs or subs, with their own like money or their
Yeah.
own Twitch Prime, like I'm always like, I acknowledge like that's a really fucking nice thing to do because
Yeah, definitely.
they're choosing you out of everyone else to choose to like support, and they're showing that like their gratitude like towards your efforts, and I think it's like a really like cool interaction, I guess, that people would be willing to go that far for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing that you mentioned earlier that I'm curious about is you mentioned your regulars as long as they're not being toxic. Have you
Yeah.
ever had to like ban someone who's been like sub to you for a long time? Has
Yeah, I actually had to like ban someone recently that's like they're like VIP and they had like previously subbed for 8 months. Because like I mean they were just being a dick. And
yeah.
I think I don't know, like at first like it was kind of hard because I didn't like put my foot down as much and kind of just let people like do whatever, but now I'm like a little more strict, I guess, and I just felt bad like banning people that like had supported me previously, but I think like anyone I think like the number one thing people have to realize about streamers is that they're not just like robots programmed to entertain you, and there's human beings with their own like set of feelings and their own set of problems as well. And if you try to make them feel bad, like I don't think you should tolerate it. Like I don't think you should tolerate people trying to make you feel bad about yourself. And I guess that's kind of like what I do now as well is I just don't tolerate people trying to make me feel bad about myself. I just I time them out or ban them, and I mean if they use an unban request and they're genuinely sorry, and I'll usually give them a second chance. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with everything you just said.
yeah.
Do you have like any plans like for the future for your stream, like any big plans?
Uh, I don't think so. I don't
How
know. I'm kind of just winging it.
okay.
Uh, yeah. I don't have like huge plans to like do any like big collaborations or like pop off on social media or anything. I'm not gonna become a VTuber.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I don't have any really big plans. I'm kind of just going with the flow. Doing my best every day
Yeah.
and seeing what can come of it. So
I
I
mean
think
that
the I think I think like the mental part of it does get to me sometimes, but
hmm.
like always trying to like make sure that I'm always like keeping a good mood for stream, even when I'm feeling really bad. Like the thing is like I have very high standards for myself when it comes to
Yeah.
video games, and it really does not mesh so well for streaming because you don't present like a great like very amicable side of you when you're like you
Yeah, yeah,
know
definitely.
putting yourself down, I guess, and that's something I struggle with a lot. So it's just any game that I've ever been competitive in, like I was like top, I was like the best hunter in WoW, like for a long amount of time, or like one of the best, like top three,
Yeah,
top two,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Then I played League, I was like the best Fizz on NA. I was like 700, 800 LP, two accounts, right, like Challenger. Um, and when it comes to TFT, I started out and I was grinding, and the only thing I gave a shit about when I started streaming was just being the best and just winning worlds and being the best. And, you know, at that point, I had expected TFT esports to
Yeah.
be pretty big going forward, considering how popular the game was on release, right?
Yeah.
Here we are 3 years later,
Oh no.
and yeah, so the direction that I had initially planned on going was supposed to be about only being competitive
Yeah.
in the space. Of course, that has had to, kind of take a U-turn uh, with the amount of support the game has gotten from Riot over the years. But it is definitely something that I struggle with, and something that doesn't really mesh super well with streaming, but it's something that I try to work on every single day and just do a better job. So,
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, if TFT was as big as like I don't know, like Valorant, then
mhm.
you think you would just like be more focused on just
Yeah.
climbing
Uh,
rank.
yeah,
But
I think I would just
because yeah,
be focused on just putting in the work and just being the best player that I possibly can and just focusing on winning regionals, winning worlds. So,
yeah, yeah, but without that support, you have to focus more on like the streaming aspect.
yeah, I mean the only way to play TFT full time is to stream. So,
Yeah, definitely.
it's not that I dislike streaming, it's just I have some personality flaws that are not super good for streaming, and sometimes like I think that harms me.
Uh, I mean, personality. You say flaws, but I mean,
I will say that like
there's pros and cons to every
in
personality
terms
type,
of
I
like
guess.
raw growth and raw numbers, like I think it's better to just, be wacky and crazy and just not give a fuck about winning or anything like that. But there are people out there, right, that will, and this is why I use like the word community, because like there are people out there that will like appreciate that more like about you and like the fact that like, you kind of just like wear your heart on a sleeve and just like put it all out there and just like you like your true feelings like really shine through and like there are people out there that will appreciate it and I guess like that's kind of why I just like focus more on the good side instead of like always stressing over like how can I get more numbers, how can I get more subs, like
Yeah.
how can I okay, maybe I should, like join this Discord call and, like maybe I should try like, act like crazy and stuff like that. Like I just focus on uh just interacting with my chat and just winning games and just that's it, honestly. Just streaming the way that I want to stream, the way that makes me happy personally.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I think that's the most important thing. It's like what you said. As long as you're not homeless, and the other thing, employed and not homeless, I think the most
Yeah,
important. Personally, yeah, I think the most important thing is that like you're enjoying yourself. Like
yeah.
if you're making twice as much money but you're not having a good time, like what's the point? That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, some people will think differently, right?
Yeah,
Some people would say like, "Oh, just sack everything. It's a job. Treat it like a job." I don't know. Like, it can go both ways, honestly.
fair enough, fair enough.
This is just how I choose to stream. So,
No, I agree with that too.
mm.
All right, I think let's wrap it up here. I think we
Okay.
covered everything I want to. Do you have any shout outs you want to give to anyone?
Um, Shout outs. Shout out to my chat and everyone that supports me, all the way up until this point, and shout out to Riot Games for, hopefully for creating TFT and this game is lit and hopefully they can get some more competitive support in the future. I have high hopes. You know, the world's prize pool has gone up by 50,000. LCQ is a really good system. They're making moves. This is the first time that I've seen some real effort, so I'm really happy about that. Gives me good hope for the future. Maybe by set 9 we'll pop the fuck off. We'll see. Um,
Set nine.
yeah, well, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I
Not
mean,
we're not too greedy. Not too greedy. All right,
yeah,
fair
not
enough.
too greedy. So it's baby steps, baby steps. So
All right,
yeah, yeah, that's about it though.
awesome, man.
Oh, and shout out to Liquid for giving me like a stable income and taking a chance on me. I appreciate that very much.
Oh shit! Now that you mention it, wait, can I ask you
Hmm?
about Liquid?
Yeah, sure. Anything.
How'd you get the sponsorship and like how's that changed?
Uh, well, back in set 1, um, when TFT was really popping off and it was new, a lot of orgs were like, "Damn, we gotta
Yeah.
get in this space, We gotta invest in this space." Now in set 6, a lot of orgs are like, "Man."
TFT Bedge.
TFT, man, it does not seem like Riot gives a. Oh, okay. It does not seem like. It does not seem like Riot wants to invest very much competitively into the esports scene, so that maybe we shouldn't invest as much into the esports scene either. So it is definitely a lot harder to get on an org nowadays, but I mean it's still possible. Like we saw like IG pick up like Nubao DQA in set like set 4 or set 5. So I mean it's possible. Like if you're good enough, maybe I would say like right now, just because like there's not much money in the competitive space, like orgs definitely care the most about stream numbers compared to like anything else. So if you do want to get on an org, then I would say that just goes along with being more consistent and just streaming every day and just trying to stay as high rated as possible. TFT is pretty sweaty nowadays, so you know just streaming every day, being a great streamer, having great chat interaction, all while being rank one. Using
Yeah.
camera, being confident. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's like basically impossible. So you can all you can really do is just your best every day, I would say.
All right. Awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for being with me on episode 1 of Full Open. I
Yeah, no
I've
problem.
never told you this, but when you mentioned like using like Twitch Prime support, like
Hmm.
it's like you can only use it on one person. I looked through our Twitch Prime to you more than anyone else. So
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
and
That's
yeah,
fucking good.
yeah, but yeah, thanks for being on the first episode, and I'll see y'all later.
Bye bye.